Hey guys, Coupons Provide here, and today I'm going to be doing a Dollar Tree DIY using the poly folders, and I'm going to be creating 3 different types of products using these folders. Now I did use 2 folders in this project along with a ton of basic simple supplies, making them affordable and adorable planner accessories perfect for on the go and also perfect for any craft or planner skill level. I hope you guys get inspired, so let's go ahead and get started. The first project we're going to be doing is creating a front and back cover for our Happy Planner. Now this has been done before many times, and I do one in every video, but it's just in case somebody is new and catches this video. Also, we're going to be making a button closure poly folder pouch to carry all of our good little essential pieces for on the go. How adorable is that? I really like this project. Then we're going to create a poly folder accordion folder. This is going to be perfect for on the go to store your receipts, any coupons you find along the way, some important papers that you might come across, anything like that. It's very slim and fits nicely in your purse or even the back of your planner. Now, taking a look at our supplies, we're going to need 2 poly folders from Dollar Tree, and I chose these Believe in Yourself green bubble folders. Also, we're going to need some very basic supplies such as a ruler and a blade for cutting or scissors, a pencil, a pen, some tape. Now the tape is optional. I like to use it because I'm recording. Some buttons, an eraser is optional as well, something to puncture the plastic, some elastic cording, tape. You could definitely polish up with a corner rounder or use an actual hole punch or some very nice scissors, but it's all optional, guys. I'm also going to be doing a planner cover protector sheet, so I'm going to have a binder as well for this one. So we're going to start off by taking our poly folders and cleaning them up. All we're going to do is take our ruler and a blade and cut down the center of the folder to separate them. You could definitely get the same effect with scissors, but I just prefer the ruler and the blade. We are simply going to do this to both folders, and we're going to begin detaching the pockets. All you have to do is kind of lift up that flap and roll your finger under there and it will simply detach. Super simple. Now you do not want to damage these pieces because we're going to be using them further in the project to create another piece of the project. I'm going to lay them flat and get them to sit flat by simply folding the flaps in the opposite direction. And then I'm going to take the ruler and the blade and cut off the flaps to clean our folder up so we have a nice rectangular surface. Now I do like to remind you guys that it does not have to be as complicated as it looks. You could simply do this with scissors and it'll take a lot less time for you than what it takes for me. But for me, I have to keep in mind the camera and the fact that I'm recording, so I prefer to use the blade and the ruler because it keeps everything on a nice flat surface, and it makes it easier for you guys to see and ensures that I'm always in frame. So just don't let what I have to do make it seem harder for you. Now we're going to take the existing cover off of our planner and layer it on top of our folder. We want to make sure that we have it in the correct place, so whatever you want to have as your cover needs to be under the planner cover that you already have. That way you know whatever you're cutting is what you're going to keep. Now I like to tape my surfaces down because it just ensures and helps everything stay nice and stable so that I don't get any crooked cuts, but you don't have to do that. It is not absolutely mandatory. For me, it just helps whenever I have to move the product for the camera. Now that we basically have our front cover all cut and ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and do the hole punching 2 different ways. On the front cover, I'm going to use my 365 Happy Planner hole punch just to show you guys how easy it can be if you choose to invest in the punch with a coupon, of course. And then on the back cover, we are going to use everyday basic supplies that you can pick up at your local dollar store. And since I usually get asked in every video where my glass measuring plate comes from, it was an awesome Tuesday morning find that we hauled a long time ago for $3.99. It was an incredible find because this one plate retailed for $25. So that was an awesome find, an awesome score, and that's why everybody ran out to find them at their Tuesday morning stores. But you could definitely find alternatives in your craft stores or in Walmart or anything like that. Now that our back cover is complete, I'm going to show you guys how to create your holes for your planner using a Dollar Tree hole punch and your scissors. You're basically going to take your existing cover and line it up with your new cover. And on your existing cover, you're going to line up the hole punch to the top of the hole that's already on your cover. Then you're going to take your scissors and cut slits into the hole. These slits need to be wide enough for it to hug the circular disc, and it's basically about the width of your scissor blades. As long as you cut it like that, they will pop in place perfectly and hug the disc very well. And now you have your very own affordable and custom planner covers. So now we're going to go into the protector page so that we can protect those gorgeous covers. Now you can use any type of poly binder. Also, I have featured the Dollar Tree chopping mats in several planner cover protector page DIYs and other types of projects. I love those mats. You get 2 in a pack for $1, so they are an awesome purchase price. This binder I actually found at King Dollar, and all I'm going to do is take the covers and cut them from the rings. I'm going to tape the surface down so that they do not slip on each other, so I can get nice clean cuts. Now the trick to cutting through thick plastic nice and straight without too much effort is making several layered cuts. Do not try to push through the plastic on the first cut because it will take your blade and guide it and make crooked cuts. So what you want to do is lay your ruler flat, do thin layers of cuts in a straight line. That will allow your blade to cut through and give you straight cuts. We are simply going to take our hole punch or punch with the Dollar Tree hole punch and put our holes on our cover. Now we have a protector cover for our planner. Now to create a flap cover from the back to the front to close your planner, you want to make sure you lay your binder cover left to right long ways. This way you get more product flap to the right of your planner cover page. As you can see, I'm only cutting off the bottom strip and making the top of the planner cover even with the top of the sheet. This is going to give us a long flap to flap from the back of the planner to the front. Once we have our binder sheet cut to size, we can go ahead and begin punching our holes to put it on the back of the planner. Now I really feel like it's necessary to mention that this video looks a little different because I was using one of my old cameras. Lately I've been having a lot of trouble transferring footage from my phone to my computer without it being corrupt, and I didn't want a chance losing the footage for this video, so I used the camera instead. So it's a little awkwardly angled, but it's the best I could do, guys, and I really wanted to bring this video out to you, so I kind of just went with it anyway. Also, for those curious, I always get my pink blades from the Dollar Tree in the automotive section. They always carry a 4-pack and they are my absolute favorite, so if you were curious about that, now you know where I get those supplies. So we're going to take the back of our planner cover and kind of manipulate it to flap towards the front. I'm going to simply take the ruler and the blade and go on the edge of the planner cover and put a very thin hairline cut into the back so that it folds a little bit nicer. Now this will actually get softer over time, so the fold is a little bit hard right now, but as you use it, it will start to get comfortable in the position that you usually keep it in, so it will not be as tough to fold later. Now using our puncture tool, aka a screw, we are going to puncture a hole where we want our button for our closure. Simply take your screw and screw it into the sheet. This is for somebody who does not have tools and puncture tools and so on. Just an easy way to grab something that you may already have around the house and make your project. So we're going to take 2 buttons, which I found on a 15-cent clearance at Michael's, and some elastic thread, which I got from Dollar Tree. They sell it in a variety pack, and we're going to use that to tie down our buttons. So basically for each button, you want 2 holes side by side with enough space to be able to tie a knot in the back. That is what's going to keep your buttons in place. Now you're going to want to decide which side you want to have your excess thread to wrap your planner cover shut. I initially wanted it on the other side, so I cut off the excess from this button and then changed my mind later on. So I will add it on later by knotting it to the existing knot. Then we're going to do the same exact steps for the other side of the cover. We want 2 buttons because they are going to wrap around each other with the elastic thread to stay shut. Once your button is in place, you're going to go ahead and knot it from the inside and trim the excess so that it looks nice and clean. And then we're going to go back and add the extra thread to the other button for our closure. Once you've knotted it to the back of your button, you officially have your thread to keep your planner cover shut. Now, I would definitely say to give yourself quite a bit of product because your planner is going to grow as you do your weekly, monthly plan with me layouts, and depending on the product that you actually store in it and what function it actually serves. So definitely give yourself enough to kind of expand with growth. And now we can officially move on to project number 3. In this one, we're going to take one of our poly folder covers and we're going to clean it up a little bit. We want to put the ruler to the edge of the already punched holes and cut that off. Again, do not throw your strips away because we're going to be using those strips in the future part of the project. Now you simply want to see where on the back side is the print, because that is what is going to be your actual pouch print. You're going to make sure to fold both sides of your poly folder, which gives you a bottom and a top. And then you want to make sure that your print is in the right spot. Also, you're going to need some thick thread. I would definitely suggest some type of twine because it's a very nice texture combination with the clean print of the poly folder. So all we're doing now is taking a marker and marking where we want to punch our holes for the threading. Just keep in mind the look you're going for. As for me, I wanted to do several holes so that I could have several little stitches on the border. Once you have your holes marked, simply take your punch source, whatever that may be, and begin punching your holes. Now it is a poly product, so you want to make sure that when you're holding it together to make your punch, that you hold it stable and it's nice and even because it can easily slide when punching. If you are not using a punch tool, I wanted to make sure that you are aware that you need to be careful when creating your holes because since it is a poly plastic type product, it will crack and create a larger hole rather than just tear. So you have to kind of be careful that you're not putting too much pressure and that you're doing everything with a nice stable hand. So now that we've got all of our holes punched, we can go ahead and begin pulling the thread for our stitching. And one thing you want to remember is that a lot of different types of threads tend to fray. So all you have to do is to simply take some Scotch tape and kind of wrap it around the ends of your frayed thread, kind of like a shoelace whenever it becomes frayed. That way you can have a nice point for the actual stitching. What you're going to do is simply put your thread through, creating a hoop at the bottom. Through that hoop, you're going to send your thread into it, tighten it around the end, and you're going to begin threading upward. Simply go in one direction and come out the other, and then go in the opposite direction and come out the other. And you're just going to do that all the way up to the top hole. Once you get to the top hole, you're going to go ahead and take your excess thread and tie a knot larger than the hole so that it doesn't slide out. Now, though you're pulling the product very firmly, be sure not to break the folder. This is a poly folder, guys. We are not working with leather. We are not working with steel. It is not that durable. It's durable enough to create the project, but you need to be careful and be aware that it can crack or break. Once the first side is done, we're simply going to do the same exact thing to the second side. And the best way I think to do it, unless you want the ends to hang out on the front of the pouch, is to take your end of your thread through the last hole on the inside of the pouch. That way, whenever you create your knot, it is not seen from the outside on the front or the back. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. Okay, so as you can see, I'm pulling it to the inside of the pouch through the top hole. I'm going to snip off the excess and I'm going to tie a knot that is sitting on the inside between both layers of the pouch. This way you don't see it from the outside. Now, I thought the overhanging string was kind of cute and I think it would be the perfect opportunity to add a tassel, but we're not doing all that. That's a whole other kind of project for a whole other day. We're just gonna work with what we got. So we're gonna snip off the ends to clean up both sides. Once we cut the twine from both ends, you can see our pouch beginning to form, and all we have to do now is create a button closure. We're going to do the exact same steps as we did with the poly binder protector cover and use the elastic thread to put our buttons onto the pouch. Simply take your ruler and kind of set a measurement or a mark where you want to punch your holes on the top and the bottom flap, creating your button closure. Now we can go ahead and begin punching our holes. Now you have the option to use the hole punch or something else to puncture your hole. Just make sure you keep in mind what I said before about not puncturing too hard to create a crack, because we want our button and our thread to be nice and firm in place. Now I feel like is a good time to go ahead and mention that, guys, keep in mind this is a $1 poly folder, so this is not going to last you an entire lifetime. So when you watch this, if you are a critical thinker, do not jump to a judgment. It's a fun, creative release. It's something that we could utilize and have a lot of fun creating. So just calm down and allow yourself to enjoy the project for what it is. So basically all we have to do now is just tie the bottom button in place and you're done. It works very well. You can get it to close on the go very fast and just enjoy it. It is so cute. I really love this little pouch. Now on to the very last project, which is going to be our accordion poly folder. I am so excited about this one, and we're basically going to start off doing the same exact steps as the previous project by cleaning up the previous hole punches and kind of making it even on both sides, creating the folds, and so on. You basically just want to keep in mind the size of the dividers, which are going to be on the inside, and make sure that they are nice and covered up. Now, it's small projects like these that make me very happy when working with every bit of scrap from any project. As you can see in this one, we're going to be using the pockets that came from the inside of the folders, along with scrap pieces that we've cut off. So you can definitely utilize every single bit and get every bit of your dollar's worth for each pocket. Now that we've done similar folds to the pouch, we have to remember that this is going to be an accordion folder, so you do need to have a base. So we're simply going to take our ruler and create another fold line, giving us a very thin spine to the actual pouch. This just allows more space for the dividers and the product that you're going to be putting into the actual folder. Now we're going to begin playing with the size and the placement. So I am basically going to put all of my pocket dividers in there upside down so that they have a nice straight top and they are all coordinated, because you can see that down at the bottom there are some odd angles and we just don't want to see those. Those are going to be hidden. While they are inside the folder, we're going to take our ruler and the blade and trim off whatever hangs out the outside of the folder. So here you can kind of see what we're going for. Now what we're going to do is kind of trim off a tiny lip of each one of the sheets. The reason we're going to do this is because whatever we're going to use to mount them in place is going to be a little thick and probably hang out the ends. And we don't want that to be hanging out too far and just become an eyesore. So I'm just going to use something with a curved end and simply start tracing my tab lines. I'm going to begin by layering them and taping them down so that they stay nice and straight. And I'm doing this so that I can see where each divider tab is going to be. That way when I trace one and then the next one, I can make sure that they are kind of even and not overlapping each other by too much. Now I found that the best way to kind of center them and make sure that they're nice and even is by starting from the outside dividers and working my way in towards the inside dividers. So I started on the far right for the last one and then on the far left for the first one, and then I'm going to go into the middle and kind of make sure that they are evenly spaced and they look nice. Once we have our dividers marked, we can go ahead and begin adding a border because we're going to make a decorative pattern on this border. Now I'm cutting off this top one so you can kind of get an idea of what the dividers are going to look like. And I'm going to do the same thing for the next 3 dividers. I'm making a cut line and then I am ending it at the divider so I can make sure to cut along the line and not cut off the divider. Once that's done, we can go ahead and start cleaning up the divider tab. So we can just take our scissors and remove all the tape, cut around the divider tab to create the tab, and then take your scissors and or blade and cut the line where the border was. And then you can pretty much see what we're going for, and we're gonna do that to all of the dividers. Okay guys, so kind of reflecting back on this video, I'm sorry it's such a long video, but it has been requested that I slow down some of my tutorials, and this is probably the first and last that I will be slowing down as much, because it has taken a very long time to edit and it has also made the video very long. So yeah, I will probably try to do maybe single DIY and tutorial videos a little slower, but as far as the multi-project ones, this is probably going to be the last one that's kind of slowed down a bit. Okay guys, so once those are all done, we're going to begin creating the expandable pieces for our pockets. Now I have already prepped one, but basically all we're going to do is take our scrap pieces and make sure they are all similar sizes. We're going to lay them side by side to create one full strip by adding a back of duct tape. Now for this part, you want to make sure that you do not shift them around when laying the tape down. The reason is this is going to be the expandable pieces in between your dividers. So if it's uneven or crooked, it's gonna kind of expand weirdly and oddly and just not sit right. So just try to make sure you keep them as straight as possible. This is going to save us a lot of folding and bending and all kinds of other stuff. It's just going to allow the process to be so much quicker. So cut off any excess pieces that are hanging off, and you can simply remove that adhesive by running it over some fabric so that it doesn't stick to your paper products that you put into the actual folder. Then we're going to go ahead and begin making the cuts in each one of our strips. You're basically going to need 2 strips for every single divider, because there is a left side and a right side and they both need the expandable pieces. So simply count out however many strips you need, and if you're going to have to create another one, then do so. But all you got to do is make sure that there's enough so that whatever you put into the pocket doesn't fall out through the side. Also, do not forget the inner layer between the last divider and the actual flap to the pouch, because you're going to have to adhere them both together so that it creates another pocket, also to keep the actual piece structured together. Okay, so at this point we have our divider sheets, our expandable tabs, and all we need now is to put them together. You're going to need some really strong adhesive like double-sided tape or even some adhesive glue. Now for me, I'm going to do this project with double-sided tape, but I know myself and I know that I can treat things a little bit aggressively or actually overflow these little spaces with product. So later on, I'm going to go ahead and secure this tape down with some E6000 just to add that extra durability and life to the actual product. I also think it'd be a very good option to add an actual adhesive, because if you leave your products or personal belongings in your vehicle, that adhesive can melt if you live in hot states like me. I live in Texas and nothing melts E6000, so I would definitely suggest going with that. So basically all we're doing is adding double-sided tape to the ends of all of our little strips. I'm going to do the inside of one side and I'm going to cut it and trim all the excess adhesive pieces off from the outside and do the other side the exact same way. Okay, so now that we've trimmed them all down, we can go ahead and do the other side to each strip. As you can see, on one side of each little strip, there is the tape with the white paper layer. Now we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. This is going to be the piece of the strip that sticks to one side of the divider. So you need 3 little strips, the center one does not get adhesive, and the right and left side do. I know it sounds way more complicated than it needs to, but you'll see what I mean in just a minute when we begin adhering them into the actual divider pouch. Alright guys, so now this part is going to be totally optional. Remember that guideline for a border that I put on there earlier? I'm simply going to take an eraser and erase all of the paint or the ink from the folder. It's basically what we used to do to our notepads way back in the day and use erasers to color on them. So basically it's removing the color, making a nice white strip for us to write our labels on. I thought it was just a really cute touch and it looks natural to the actual folder, so yeah, I just went with it. Now let's go ahead and start piecing this accordion folder together. So we're gonna take one of our strips and remove the adhesive tape. We're gonna put the adhesive to the back of the divider and adhere that to the front of the pouch. You wanna make sure that you're using your fold line as a guide so that you can have your dividers in there nice and straight. This will ensure that they are all even at the top of the pouch. Go ahead and clean off any excess glue that might be hanging out or adhesive that might be hanging out, and you're going to repeat this for all the pieces on the left side, and then you're going to go to the right side and do the same thing. You don't want to do them all together at once because it's a lot easier to make adjustments whenever you do one side at a time. Now you can basically see it coming together. So all you're going to have to do at this point is take those last 2 strips, and that's where you're going to put the actual folder together by adhering the back divider to the back flap. Now we're going to take the top flap and simply do the same thing that we did at the bottom of the folder. We're just going to add another fold in it so that it could sit very nice and comfortably with the product that you put in there and its thickness. And for the final step, we're simply going to take something that is a right angle or has a corner and add some puncture holes where we are going to add our elastic band through the little holes and knot it on the inside. Now don't cut off the excess of the knots, because if it gets full and you need a little extra stretch, then you still have the product left. So basically add the knots and you have your own elastic band closures. Super easy, simple DIY for a closure on a pouch. So here goes a final look at this little project, and I love the way this came out. I think it is absolutely adorable and definitely worth the effort. It's gonna hold whatever you need, and you can change it up for whatever your needs may be. So that is pretty much it for this poly folder Dollar Tree DIY. I do hope that you guys enjoyed, and I hope you get inspired to create some awesome and adorable and affordable planner accessories of your own to fit your needs. Also, feel free to stick around and see some clips to some other planner projects that I have created, and we'll leave a link down below for you guys. If you enjoyed, hit that thumbs up button, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram for a surprise, and Google Plus at Coupons to Provide. And don't forget, guys, keep couponing. Bye!